Chosen one, you were not born to blend in with the noise. You were sent to disrupt it. This message didn't find you by accident. It found you because heaven scheduled it. Something is stirring, and it begins this Friday. You can feel it, in the silence between your thoughts, in the pressure behind your eyes, in the tension that's been building without words. This Friday is not on the world's radar, but it's written in your scroll. A spiritual gate is opening, and it will not stay open forever. If you miss this moment, you may spend years trying to find it again. The question is ringing through the spirit realm. Were you buried, or were you planted? Were you overlooked, or were you hidden for this exact hour? There's a shift coming, not just in circumstances, in identity, in direction, in divine release. And here, inside this sacred space we call Echoes of the Chosen, the unseen is made visible. What you couldn't explain begins to make sense. What was silent is finally spoken. This is not a coincidence, it is a summoning. Isaiah 61 says, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." But before glory comes, there is always a moment of decision. And for you, that moment is now. Stay with me until the end, because what's being revealed in this message may explain the battles you've faced, the silence you've endured, and the fire that never fully consumed you. The scroll is opening, and your name is on it. Marked without knowing. The hidden clues in your story. There have been moments in your life that didn't make sense. Resistance without reason, isolation without cause, warfare before you even knew how to pray. But nothing was random. You were marked before the foundations of the earth were laid. Not marked for popularity, but for purpose. Not to be seen by many, but to be known by God. The proof is hidden in the patterns. Closed doors that made no sense. People walking away without explanation. Dreams that carried weight too heavy for your age. These were not signs of rejection. They were confirmations of divine reservation. You weren't pushed aside. You were pulled apart. Jeremiah was told, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. I set you apart." That same hand that touched Jeremiah's mouth has hovered over your life in secret. Watching, guarding, positioning. The enemy has always seen the mark before you did. That's why the attacks felt premature. That's why you fought battles others never had to fight. You were a threat while still hidden. A warrior while still being wounded. You weren't delayed. You were disguised. And like David in the fields, unseen by man but chosen by heaven, your anointing didn't need a stage. It only needed obedience. You've been asking, why me? But heaven has been whispering, because I trust you. And now, the whisper is becoming a summons. The field is behind you. The oil is about to pour. The silence was sacred. God's classroom of obscurity. Obscurity is not punishment. It is preparation. Silence is not absence. It is divine surveillance. God never wastes a wilderness. He hides his most dangerous weapons there. You thought you were stuck, but in truth, you were being still, trained in stillness, sharpened in shadows. Because when God calls a chosen one, he first removes every false identity, every external voice that tries to define what he already declared. Moses wandered Midian for 40 years before the bush burned, not because God forgot him, but because Moses had to forget Egypt. You weren't overlooked, you were under watch. The silence was where the sacred codes were written. The weeping was how the ink flowed. The silence wasn't a void, it was a vault. Isaiah declared, "He made my mouth like a sharpened sword. In the shadow of his hand, he hid me." You weren't being punished in your silence. You were being sharpened. It takes longer to build a weapon than it does to build a stage. That's why it felt slow. Heaven was crafting you with precision. There is no wasted hiddenness in the hands of God, only layers being peeled back for revelation. And now, the silence is breaking. The fire was not to break you. It was to brand you. There are flames that consume, but then there are flames that consecrate. The fire you walked through wasn't sent to destroy you. It was sent to distinguish you. Loss, betrayal, breakdown, these were not interruptions to your journey. They were the forge of it. You cried for rescue, but heaven sent fire, because only fire can reveal what compromise conceals. Joseph's pit wasn't proof of failure. It was the prelude to his throne. He wasn't forgotten. He was fermented. Every betrayal branded your spirit with endurance. Every heartbreak etched identity deeper. The fire was never about pain. It was about purity. You're not broken. You're branded. God doesn't send chosen ones to platforms before he sends them through furnaces. What didn't kill you didn't just make you stronger. It made you sacred. You didn't just survive the fire, you became fire. When chosen ones delay, the earth groans to be chosen is not a compliment. It is a commissioning. And when those who are chosen stay silent, something groans in the atmosphere. A divine imbalance begins. The enemy rejoices, not when you fall, but when you hesitate. Every scroll carries weight, and when left unopened, it leaves assignments unfinished and lives unreached. Jonah delayed, and a storm rose. He boarded a boat to avoid Nineveh, but heaven will disturb an entire sea to redirect one soul. You've sensed it. The divine frustration, the inner pressure, the holy discontent. It's not anxiety, it's spiritual urgency. Your delay feeds darkness. Your obedience shakes thrones. Romans says, all creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. The world is not waiting on another celebrity. It is waiting on you, chosen, wounded, silent, to stand. Every minute you doubt your voice is a minute the enemy fills the silence. But that silence was never his to fill. Your scroll carries authority. Stop playing small. You weren't just chosen to feel special. You were chosen to wield power. Heaven didn't whisper your name so you could live quietly in fear. It revealed your scroll so you could shake systems, break chains, shift atmospheres. The enemy's greatest fear is not your potential. It's your permission. When you finally give yourself permission to be what God already said you are not waiting for affirmation. You are carrying authorization. Elijah didn't need a king's endorsement to shut the sky. He simply spoke, and heaven obeyed. You've been shrinking back, asking for confirmation. But the truth is, you've already been commissioned. The authority you keep asking for is already resting on you. Jesus said, I have given you authority to overcome all the power of the enemy. You've seen enough, felt enough, fought enough. Now is the time to speak with fire. Because silence is no longer safe. What Friday demands, step into your assignment. This Friday is not a coincidence. It is a gate. It doesn't appear in headlines. It doesn't knock with fireworks. It arrives like a whisper wrapped in urgency. And only those who are spiritually awake will recognize it. It's not a date on the calendar. It's a test in the spirit. Heaven is aligning something. And what you do with this moment will echo across years, nations, and bloodlines. Esther didn't wake up knowing she'd stand before the king. But when the call came, she said yes, even if it cost everything. This Friday is not coming to ask for your comfort. It's coming to reveal your courage. Esther 4:14 asks the haunting question. Who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this? You felt the time bending, the veil thinning, the scroll stirring. This is the moment you were preserved for. The question is no longer if you are ready. It is, will you obey anyway? You are not alone. The rise of the hidden remnant. You felt alone for too long, but you were never abandoned. You were scattered on purpose. God never builds armies the way man does. He hides his soldiers across the nations. He lets them grow in different soil, under different names, and then awakens them at the same hour. There are others, thousands, who carry the same fire, the same scars, the same longing. You've never met them in the flesh, but your spirits know one another. This is not isolation, it's mobilization. Like Gideon's 300, the remnant is not defined by numbers. It's defined by obedience. You are not a misfit. You are a matchstick, placed for ignition. Joel said, "I will pour out my spirit on all people." That prophecy was not poetic. It was a blueprint. This moment is not about gathering popularity. It's about locating family. You are not the only one, but you may be the first in your bloodline to awaken. You're the sound that must echo across time. Your obedience isn't just about today, it's about eternity. What you carry must echo beyond you, into rooms you'll never enter, through voices you'll never meet, in generations you'll never see. Deborah didn't rise for applause, she rose for awakening. And when she did, others remembered how to fight again. You are carrying an ancient sound, a frequency heaven buried in your DNA. And when you rise, something reverberates in the spirit realm. You're not just a voice, you're a vibration. Judges says, "Warriors ceased until I, Deborah, arose." That same spirit is calling now, and what you choose to release will ripple far beyond your lifetime. There's a reason you felt tension in your spirit before the world could name it. A reason the winds shifted inside you days before Friday ever arrived. Because heaven did not forget you. It hid you in plain sight. You weren't waiting on the world was waiting on you. This is the sacred paradox. The delay wasn't denial. It was design. A holy setup where God allowed the silence, the fire, the rejection. Not to weaken you, but to weaponize you. You are not wandering. You are awakening. You are not behind. You are becoming. And now, chosen one. The scroll is sealed. Your name is carved in fire, and the gates are open before you. You are not who you used to be. The timid one, the wounded one, the silent one. You've passed through the valley of shadows and come out radiant. Heaven recognizes your signature in the spirit. You've been tested. You've been trusted. And now, you are being sent. Comment 7 after even. If this word met you at the edge of your silence, if something deep within you stood to attention while these words unfolded, don't let that fire go unanswered. Share what stirred your spirit. Let your voice be the next confirmation for someone else's awakening. And subscribe to Echoes of the Chosen, not for content, but for covenant. This is more than a channel. It's the sound of the remnant rising, the gathering of those who refuse to stay asleep. You are not alone. You are the next echo.